I did it. Just as much as my Dude Perfect vlog, my quarantine has been defined by wanting to be able to make this video. So Scoob has been released, and some people are calling it one of the best Scooby-Doo films ever. But we'll get to that in a separate video, because there's quite enough other Scooby-Doo films to rank, okay? So tomorrow, we'll do our 1-minute review for Scoob separately. Today, I'm going to rank all of the other 42 Scooby-Doo films that there's ever been. Yeah. I've watched them all at some point in the last 3 months, guys. Every one of the 42 other Scooby-Doo films. There's been a lot, okay? There's the classics, you know, Alien Invaders, Zombie Island. There's newer ones, Return to Zombie Island, Curse of the 13th Ghost. There's ones in the middle. There's Lego. There's Lego Scooby-Doo movies. There's a puppet Scooby-Doo movie. I've suffered. I've suffered so that I can make this video, okay? And then I suffered through the writing of it. Now I'm going to suffer through the filming of it. Then I'm going to suffer through the editing of it. Ouch, am I right? Editing me? Ouch. So these are all going to be, it's going to act like more like a quick list probably. It's going to be like 10 to 15 second reviews as opposed to 1-minute reviews, because I don't want to be here filming this for an hour. And I don't think you guys want to be here watching this for an hour, okay? So let's go. Unlike most of my ranking videos, instead of going by release date, you know, first to last, I'm gonna just go by what's worst to what's best. I think that'll make it easier for us all, okay? So, the worst Scooby-Doo movie ever is the aforementioned puppet movie, Scooby-Doo Adventures the Mystery Map, which is a feature-length puppet movie. It's just feature-length. Feature-length films only actually have to be 40 minutes, as it turns out, and somebody in Hanna-Barbera Productions or Warner Brothers found that out, because they kind of went, alright, yes, no, let's make it like 47 minutes, and that'll count. Cheeky! But it's incomprehensibly bad. It's so garbage. I'm going to give it 7 out of 100. That's diabolically bad.
Be a real monster. Monsters aren't real. We'll see about that.
What's up?
This is truly bad, because this is the singular Scooby-Doo movie on this list out of all 42 without Scooby-Doo in it. They did that, yeah. It's a spin-off called Daphne and Velma and is generally awful in every respect. Neither of the actors really look that much like Daphne or Velma, and that's not even, I'm not even really talking about the fact that Daphne's black in this. It's just generally they just don't look right and they don't act that well, and the whole thing is just they're best friends online. Then Daphne moves to the town to meet her and they become friends eventually at school, but Velma's a bitch and it's very bad. It's very, very bad, and I'll give that 14 out of 100. Yeah.
It's them! Like hide! Join Hanna-Barbera in a twist on the classic Eastern tale, Arabian Nights.
Those are the only two really god-awful ones. After that, it's an old classic one, ScoobyDoo and Arabian Nights, which is one of the earliest Scooby-Doo films from 1994. It's also, though, it's not really a Scooby-Doo film. Scooby and Shaggy go to Arabia, just Arabia, to be food taste testers for the king of Arabia, or the Sultan or something, and then they kind of tell stories to the king, and one of them is, you know, they're based on the 1001 Arabian Nights, so one of them is like Yogi Bear is a genie, and that, you know, and then there's another one, and basically it's these two things, and Scooby and Shaggy are just there in between bits at the beginning, middle, and end. So it's not really a Scooby-Doo movie, and it's not very good either. I'll give it 33 out of 100. Yeah.
Like, stop the train! We want off this locomotive!
ScoobyDoo and the Goblin King.
Then it's getting much closer to a proper Scooby-Doo film. It's Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King! Basically, on Halloween, Scooby and Shaggy are dragged by real wizards into an alternate dimension while Velma, Daphne, and Fred do nothing. They're in it, but they do nothing. They're not in the majority of it. It's Scooby and Shaggy wandering through like a scary monster Halloween realm. And this is all real. This is all, like, it's real magic and stuff, which, to be fair, sometimes works out. This time it does not. They have to deal with annoying pumpkins and save the world by stopping Tim Curry from... I honestly can't remember. I honestly have no idea what he was doing to destroy the world. But they stopped him. It's not very good. It's also a musical. So, not really the Scooby-Doo film you'd expect. I'll give this 40 out of 100.
We're rolling old school, samurai style.
The all-new movie ScoobyDoo and the Samurai Sword. Look for it only on DVD.
Scooby-Doo and the Samurai Sword can go next. Partly for being a little dodgy in the depiction of Japanese culture, partly because it isn't that good. Also, this takes the whole this person is able to do amazing mechanical inventions thing way too far by having this woman create an army of robotic ninjas. That was just too much for me, really. Also, Scooby is made into a real samurai by, wait for it, a real giant green dragon. Yes. And the real kicker, I think, out of all of this is that they came to Japan so Daphne could compete in a martial arts competition, and then she gets pushed to the side so Scooby could be made into a real samurai by a real dragon. So I'll give this 42 out of 100, but it doesn't really deserve that much. Jeez, it was dumb.
Who's gonna be the bait? You are. How is it that you and I have to do the hard part?
Just lucky, I guess. Scooby-Doo and Kiss.
Now it's the first major crossover. For some reason, they did a crossover in a feature-length movie with Kiss. The band Kiss. Kiss the band. Scooby-Doo and Kiss, the rock and roll mystery. That's... yeah. As much fun as it was to have great Kiss songs in there, they entered a Kiss dimension full of Kiss people, a witch steals a magic rock from them, and Kiss, who are all actually superheroes, of course, they have to stop her with a very small amount of help from Scooby and the gang. Like a very small amount, because they're not superheroes. So you have to wonder why Scooby and the gang are even there. Why didn't they just make a Kiss movie? And then it all turns out to be a dream at the end, and they weren't actually superheroes, but they were. So, that's... that... I can't believe a film featuring the words Kiss Dimension gets 43 out of 100, but it does.
Catch Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, and those legendary Boo Brothers in Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers, coming soon to video.
Then, quite low, it's the very first one. Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers is the very first film they ever made, and it suffers from being too long for sure. 90 minutes is really long for one of these movies. You just gotta trust me about that, unless you've watched this one, because it's basically the only animated one I think that touches 90 minutes, apart from Scoob. It only features Scooby, Shaggy, and Scrappy-Doo, who, yeah, he doesn't belong anywhere, does he? No. And of course, the Boo Brothers, who are just the Three Stooges. It's the Three Stooges, but they're ghosts, and they chase ghosts, and it's not great. It's not awful. It's the kind of classic style, but it's not great and it's too long. So I'll give this 44 out of 100.
Looks like we've got a mystery on our hands.
Look for Chill Out Scooby-Doo, the all-new original movie, soon on DVD.
After that is Chill Out Scooby-Doo, which is a proper, normal kind of Scooby-Doo adventure, you know. It's got them going on holiday, though they're meant to be going to Paris, but Scooby and Shaggy crash land in the Himalayas, and then Fred, Daphne and Velma drive the Mystery Machine from Paris to the Himalayas in like an hour. So that's a problem. But also, obviously, it's kind of one of those, you know, oh, check this off your, you know, they're going on holiday to bucket list, the Himalayas, obviously. Because it's not only a unique location, it's also got its own specific monster in the Abominable Snowman. So obviously that's great. They just call it the Snowman. It's not really, it's a thing. It doesn't matter. It's, yeah, it's exactly what you expect, but it's not a very good version of one of the typical mystery ones. So I'll give this 45 out of 100. What is life anymore? I'm already losing my mind. It's so many more to go.
Don't miss the all-new feature-length movie ScoobyDoo Abracadabra-Doo.
ScoobyDoo Abracadabra-Doo is next, and it's, again, just fine. Velma brings everybody to visit her younger sister, Madeline, who's super hot for Shaggy, and that's a little weird because we never quite get what the age difference is there. We're never quite told that. But, yeah, aside from that, it's just another one of those, because, you know, quite often you'll get that, you know, oh, it's my, you know, it's this member of the gang's relative of some sort, you know, sometimes quite distant. Here it's her sister. Didn't know until now she had a sister, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. And, yeah, she's attending a magic school, and then this griffin, that's it, it's a griffin, chases him around, and, It's not great. I'll give this one 46 out of 100. Next!
Daphne! Time to unmask this prankster once and for all.
ScoobyDoo, Curse of the Lake Monster, Extended Edition.
Next is a special thing. It's ScoobyDoo Curse of the Lake Monster. They did a pair of live-action ones in like 2009, 2010. So not the original live-action ones, but they did a couple with a kind of fairly young cast. It included Robbie Amell as Fred. And this was the sequel. And I mean, you'd expect these to be worse than they are, okay? They're not total garbage, but they're not like great. This one had like Velma was the bad guy at the end because she'd been hypnotized by this rock, but also during it, Shaggy was super hot for Velma, trying to get with her, and it was quite cute. It was quite a cute thing. It was a nice thing, and then at the end they kissed, and they both kind of went, nah, we're better off as friends, and you were like, oh, what horrible payoff. So, but it's not garbage. They're surprisingly bearable considering, you know, what they are, but I'm still only going to give it 46 out of 100.
I like that.
ScoobyDoo and the Reluctant Werewolf. Look for it on video cassette and DVD.
Next is a familiar classic, ScoobyDoo and the Reluctant Werewolf. It is a very early edition of the series where real-life Dracula, who leads all of the monsters you've ever heard of, needs a new werewolf for his child-friendly version of Death Race, essentially. So he transforms Shaggy into a werewolf because in this one, Shaggy is a phenomenal real-life racer, and that's basically never mentioned again. It's only got Scooby, Shaggy, Scrappy, and Shaggy's one-off girlfriend, Googie, whose role is to be Shaggy's girlfriend. It's not great, but it does have like a lot of good memories attached to my childhood, because this is one of the ones that I used to watch quite a lot, so even though it's not great, I'll give it 47 out of 100. Also, there's no mystery. It's not a mystery.
Like we're here for the big Cleopatra party.
Swing into action with ScoobyDoo and Shaggy. And the rest of the gang.
Back off! I know judo!
It's the all-new full-length movie, ScoobyDoo and Where's My Mummy?
ScoobyDoo and Where's My Mummy? Yeah. Velma's on a dig in Egypt. Wow, okay. They get around, and the rest of the gang comes out to surprise her. Then she's looking around for this treasure, but people are looking for it. She's trying to preserve it, so she's the mummy, or she's Cleopatra. Was that it? Yeah, she's Cleopatra who summoned the mummy. And yeah, why is Velma always the bad guy? Anytime that it's revealed that one of the gang is the bad guy, it's Velma. And she's not actually bad, you know, there's a cop-out like she's been hypnotized, or she's actually doing the right thing by scaring people off, or whatever. But yeah, it's Egypt, because that's another location off their bucket list. It's a mummy, because that's what is in Egypt, and it's not that great. So yeah, I guess I'll give this like 48 out of 100. They're all like bunched together, basically.
We're saying What's a
ScoobyDoo, the mystery begins.
Then it's a slightly generously high placing for the other recent live-action attempt, ScoobyDoo The Mystery Begins, which is just the first one of Curse of the Lake Monster with the Robbie Amell, etc. cast. It was, you know, it was how they all met, and it was all like, oh, and this dog, and they like Scooby Snack, blah, 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 you know. So it wasn't like, again, it was surprisingly good for what it was, because you'd expect this to be real bad. But it had like these two real ghosts, and you were kind of like, oh, okay, so how'd they get into busting fake ghosts? But it was also like a mystery thing, who summoned them and stuff like that, I suppose. So yeah, not great live action origin made cheaply, but surprisingly bearable considering that. So I'll give this 48 out of 100 again. Yes, we're absolutely far into the territory where a lot of these will just be on the same market once.
Hawaii will never be the same. Aloha, Scooby-Doo.
Aloha, Scooby-Doo is pretty much what you'd expect. They wanted to tick Hawaii off of their fun travel bucket list in these movies. However, what kind of monster would you get in Hawaii? It's a surfing demon! It's a demon that goes surfing! It's a surfing demon! And then, best of all, at the end, it's revealed who was behind the mask of the surfing demon? The best surfer on the island. The guy who was undisputedly the best surfer. But I'll give that 49 out of 100, because there is, you know, there's some good funniness in it, okay?
I do something!
Way to go, Fred.
Lego Scooby-Doo, Haunted Hollywood.
Next It's Lego Scooby-Doo Haunted Hollywood. I know, the idea of Lego Scooby-Doo, to me as well, it just sounded god-awful. But surprising, it doesn't, you know, they make it surprisingly work quite well and make it feel a lot like just any of the other ones, you know, any of the other films like this, you know. It's not terrible. They're pretty good considering. Again, like a lot of these I'm like saying that for, it's pretty good considering what you'd expect a Lego Scooby-Doo film to be. They go to an old Hollywood studio that's shutting down, everybody gets scared off by various old movie monsters, and the gang has to take over making a new movie, which is hilarious because Fred goes like mental as director, trying to be like a full-on perfectionist. Fred is like often got the funniest arc in films. Like, it's so... you wouldn't expect it, but he does, because he's such a, like, funny character when they actually give him something specific. Anyway, this one, it's kind of surprisingly good, but it's still only going to get 49 out of 100.
What if the gang can't solve this mystery?
I know I'm not gonna like the answer.
They'll have to walk the plank.
Told you I wouldn't like it.
Find out in the all-new original movie, ScoobyDoo Pirates Ahoy.
ScoobyDoo Pirates Ahoy. They go on a cruise. They bring Fred's parents. Fred's mom gets turned into a pirate because she's hypnotized or something. She was something like that. And yeah, so the pirates come in, they steal people, and they attack them, and then they gotta chase the pirate, and then it's not great. It's not great, you know. Again, it's just again, it's not great. That's what it is with the normal, you know, whole gang's there. They're trying to solve something. It's just either phoning it in or not, and this one's kind of still phoning it in for me. So I'll give this one 50 out of 100. It's
I think the ghost is...
Don't say it!
In this room!
Join world-famous chefs Bonnie Flay and Jana De Laurentiis in ScoobyDoo and the Gourmet Ghost.
ScoobyDoo and the Gourmet Ghost is a recent one, only came out in 2018. But, in typical fashion, they go to a culinary school. Because Fred's uncle, celebrity chef Bobby Flay, he owns it. And then they have to find the Gourmet Ghost. The Gourmet Ghost. The Gourmet Ghost. Who... like, supposedly they thought he killed one of Fred's ancestors, but his ancestor, it turns out at the end, was yelling red coats instead of red ghost. The whole town heard him say it. They assumed during the American Civil War he was saying red ghost, not red coats. Alright, so yeah, it's pointless. 50 out of 100. I'm dying.
Hey, party's over!
That vacation lasted about 2 seconds.
Lego Scooby-Doo Blowout Beach Bash.
Lego Scooby-Doo Blowout Beach Bash. Yes, it's better than Haunted Hollywood. I don't know. I mean, a bit, okay? It's fine. It's quite enjoyable. There are Lego dance sequences when they unmask villains. They turn their, like, Lego heads around. It's quite funny. Yeah, it's classic. You know, funny stuff. It's fine. Also, Fred and Velma are trying to be cool, which apparently Fred wasn't already. They're trying to, like, dance and party the whole time instead of solving the mystery. And also, then it turns out at the end that the most cruel, horrible, mean people on the island were the bad ones. So, yeah. It's pretty good. I don't know, 51 out of 100.
He doesn't know directions.
Duh, he's a dog.
Holy Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Batman!
ScoobyDoo and Batman, the Brave and the Bold.
ScoobyDoo and Batman, the Brave and the Bold. Oh yes, it's another crossover one. They get inducted for some reason, the whole gang, into Batman's new league of mystery solvers, which includes, like, he makes fun of Aquaman, doesn't let him in, but he's got, like, Martian Manhunter, Detective Chimp, you know, stuff. Again, you kind of wonder, why does Batman need the Scooby Gang? He's a superhero and also the world's greatest detective. But apparently he does. Yeah. Yeah, we get, like, Riddler, Clayface in there. Traditional stuff, you know, there's like, he fights all the Arkham villains. You know, Batman does the fighting and a lot of the detecting, and the Scooby Gang are kind of also there. It's like the Kiss one, you know, you don't need them. But whatever. I fall off with a 51 again. Sure. Next.
Join Scooby-Doo and Shaggy as they solve their latest mystery in the full-length movie ScoobyDoo and the Ghoul School. Now available on video cassette and DVD.
Another classic, which is missing the whole gang, is ScoobyDoo and the Ghoul School, where Scooby and Shaggy go to become gym teachers for a school full of the daughters of classic monsters, like Dracula's daughter, and Mummy's daughter, and Frankenstein's daughter. Frankenstein of a daughter. Anyway, it's, you know, it's fun. I like this one. This is one I watched as a kid as well, and it's also like not fantastic, but you know, all the way with Callaway and stuff. Like it's fine. You know, it's quite funny. It's again, there is like a proper villain, and it's kind of a mystery type thing, more than a lot of these old ones where Out the Whole Gang were, but it's still not much of that. It's fine. 52 out of 100. Next.
Who's your mommy?
And ScoobyDoo. ScoobyDoo 2, Monsters Unleashed.
The original live-action pair of films starred Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard, who's gone on to be the official animated Shaggy for years now, and Linda Cardellini. That's, you know, if you look at that today, you're kind of like, wow, that's a pretty fine cast. So Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed had no excuse for being so much garbage. You know, for like a properly done live-action film, which I think they were both released in cinemas, it just has no reason for being such a heaping pile of shit. But it's like such a delightful pile of shit, you know? It was one of those things that by the time I got to like 9 or 10, I was already kind of watching it ironically. But it's got to the stage now where I watch it ironically and kind of do enjoy some of these moments. You know, like Scooby-Doo looking for the clue and drawing the bunnies. Like, it's shit. But it's fun shit, okay? I'll give this also 52 out of 100, okay? And also, there's the bit where Velma's in all the leather and stuff. That's just infamous at this stage.
The legend lives on.
Run away!
In this awesome musical adventure. ScoobyDoo, Music of the Vampire.
ScoobyDoo, Music of the Vampire was not even the first time they did vampires. But it was the worst time they did vampires, so there's that. It's a musical, but so was the other vampire one they did too. There was music in that, so... God, you know, what are they doing over there? Anyway, the gang take a holiday. What pattern? There's no pattern here! And to a place called Vampire Palooza, where a troupe of actors that act like vampires summon a vampire. It's not real? It wasn't real. I don't think it was real. But then they try to get Daphne to marry the vampire. It's all slightly creepy. Was it a real vampire? I can't remember. It's a thing, okay? It's better than it sounds, but it's not, like, great. You know? They weren't quite phoning it in. There was, like, funny stuff in it. The writing was, like, well done, but it was, like, so silly. I'll give it 53 out of 100.
Time for a new plan.
Is it go somewhere and hide?
That could work.
ScoobyDoo and WWE Curse of the Speed Demon.
Scooby-Doo and WWE Curse of the Speed Demon. Yes. That title alone takes quite a lot of dissection, you know. So there are WWE superstars who are playing themselves, okay? They're playing themselves, but they're not wrestlers, they're racers. And there's the Scooby Gang. I think Shaggy and Scooby are working at the racetrack. I don't know why! You know why? This isn't even the first time they crossed over with WWE. But it is the worst time they crossed over with WWE. There's a speed demon. It turns out once again to be the meanest people around that are the demon. Scooby and Shaggy team up with the Undertaker to drive a souped up version of the Mystery Machine to win. It's fine, you know. It's fine. I quite like I like wrestling and stuff, but even you know, having all of them in there wasn't really amusing enough to completely save this. I'll give it 53 out of 100.
Guess there's only one thing left to do.
Blast off with ScoobyDoo and Shaggy. ScoobyDoo New Monster Madness.
ScoobyDoo Moon Monster Madness. is one of the most ridiculous ever, okay? You know, of all the, like, convenient holidays they win, this was the kicker. So Daphne, who still can't pass her driving test, and Velma win a lottery to go to space and bring 3 of their friends. What convenience! What pattern? No pattern here. They don't even seem to mind that none of them are 18, I think, right? And one of the friends they want to bring is a dog. Now, all of this is fine. They go on the spaceship with the billionaire, and there's a football player, and there's a celebrity, and there's a there's a person who wants to find aliens called Ridley. Her name is Ridley, not Ripley. Ridley, like Ridley Scott. Never mind, we're not ripping off Alien. Look at this. This is the monster they face in it. Oh, we're not ripping off Alien. It's fine. I'll give this one 54 out of 100. Yeah.
It's an all-new ScoobyDoo mystery with a splash of salsa. Look for the all-new movie ScoobyDoo and the Monster of Mexico.
Another great classic that I used to watch is ScoobyDoo and the Monster of Mexico, which is a pretty decent watch, okay? Mexico is another kind of quintessential tick-it-off location. They go on holiday because they know it's Fred's pen pal in this one. Yeah, no, really. And Mexico's great because it has their own specific monster legends like Chupacabra, great, that'll do. Doesn't look like anything like what the legend of Chupacabra stated. It's like this big pink thing or whatever. It's a fucking, it looks like Bigfoot, it doesn't matter. So they go there on Cinco de Mayo, why not? And or Day of the Dead or something. Yeah. It's, you know, it's fine. In a film full of Mexican people who should know about this legend, it's the annoying American girl who's behind it all. So, yeah, 54 out of 100 as well. Next.
I'll save you, Scoob! We're okay!
Yes! ScoobyDoo, Shaggy's Showdown.
ScoobyDoo, Shaggy's Showdown is another recent one. Yes, it is Wild West themed. Yeah. They go on a holiday to visit Shaggy's long-lost cousin who owns a ranch. Everyone's scared of Shaggy because he looks exactly like the ghost terrorizing the town, because Shaggy's ancestor was an outlaw around these parts. But then they find out he wasn't. He was a good person who was framed by the evil town sheriff, and everyone thinks he was an outlaw. How did they get the looks so accurate from someone who was alive like 150 years ago? Never questioned that, huh? Shaggy just turns out to be like naturally gifted at things like horse riding, and yeah. Just turns into like a cowboy for like 10 minutes. I don't know. I'm losing the will to live, guys. Blah, blah, blah. 55 out of 100 next.
Join ScoobyDoo, Shaggy, and the whole gang as they head for the land down under. In ScoobyDoo and the Legend of the Vampire.
An odd case for me is ScoobyDoo Legend of the Vampire. Not the same as Music of the Vampire, they're very different. This one is about the gang going to Australia. And they go to the outback to a place, a music festival. Music festival. It's not Music of the Vampire, it's Legend of the Vampire. They go to a music festival at Vampire Rock. So a vampire appears and scares off the contestants of the music festival one by one. Scooby and the gang enter and win by default after everyone else has been scared off. Also, the opening act, who's there not to compete in the competition but is there the whole time, is the Hex Girls, and I fucking love the Hex Girls. So it's a good time. It's a good time, you know. Thorn is like one of the hottest cartoon characters ever. You can check her out in my cartoon characters quick list. Cartoon characters you want to fuck quick list. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know, like, yeah, 55 out of 100. It's pretty good. It's alright.
From the foggy shores of the Loch Ness and the Scottish Highlands comes a creature shrouded in mystery. A beast with a ravenous appetite so legendary that it defies imagination. ScoobyDoo and the Loch Ness Monster.
Obviously, they've done ScoobyDoo and the Loch Ness Monster. Daphne's cousin is Scottish and owns a castle where they're hosting the Highland Games, so she invites them over. And they visit, and then the Loch Ness Monster appears, and then they find out it's not a Loch Ness Monster, and then there's a kind of tease that maybe the actual Loch Ness Monster is still out there at the end, just because, you never could dig on that legend. It could be real, you never know. And yeah, no, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's an enjoyable time. It's some funny stuff. It's not great. It's fine. And I don't know, 55 out of 100 again. That'll do.
Team up with a dog. Bring it. Who puts the smack in SmackDown.
ScoobyDoo Wrestlemania Mystery. Look for it on DVD, Blu-ray, or digital HD.
ScoobyDoo Wrestlemania Mystery is the first time and the better time that they worked with WWE, even though they had a WWE city, and the main event of WrestleMania ended up being Kane, right? It was Kane versus Scooby and Shaggy in a, like, cage match. It was, Yep, that is indeed what happened. It was dumb, but it was quite a lot of fun. Okay, there's some good stuff with the WWE people that cameo, even though like the Bella Twins and stuff in it who are unbearable, and it's fine. 55 out of 100 again. I've got like 4 of these on 55 out of 100. They're all just kind of around that area, you know.
Return to your master.
Let's get the heck out of here!
We're trapped! ScoobyDoo, Mask of the Blue Falcon.
I've been recording for half an hour. ScoobyDoo, Mask of the Blue Falcon. Yes, they brought back some other Hanna-Barbera characters, not just in Scoob. They've done it before. This one was fairly recent, and basically there was like it's all riffing on like Batman around like 1989 when Michael Keaton was cast for the darker tone, because they're making a Blue Falcon movie. Okay, that's all Blue Falcon is in this film. It's like a movie franchise. But yeah, it's basically riffing on like Adam West and how pissed off he was when Michael Keaton got cast in the new films, which were a darker tone. That was what it was. The villain is Mr. Hyde, obviously, which was one of the old Blue Falcon villains from the TV show. So that's what the thing is. And then there's the giant robot Mr. Hyde. And then the guy who turns out, you know, to have this big history in robotics is the one behind it, after there's a big giant robot Mr. Hyde. Yeah, alright. I'll give this one 56 out of 100 just for something a bit different, okay? Next.
There's something hiding in the woods, and it has one ferocious appetite.
What?
It's ScoobyDoo Camp Scare.
ScoobyDoo Camp Scare. Jesus Christ. So, Fred brings them to his old camp to be counselors because he's a goddamn Boy Scout all the way through. And they're going to, you know, they're going to be the counselors, but then all the kids get scared away by a woodsman. It's a woodsman ghost thing. And there's only like 3 kids left, but they keep all like 5 of them on as counselors. And then there's another camp like up the river with this hot girl counselor who you think's done it, and she's all like woohoo with Fred, and Fred's all like woohoo, even though he doesn't like that other camp, but it's you know, whatever. you know, whatever. These are all like 70 minutes. This is all I need to explain for you to understand what they're about, okay? You know, there's not much to differentiate between some of these. The woodsman's trying to flood the whole valley because there's like gold buried at the town in the bottom of the valley or something. There's nothing really that special about what? So 100, I'll give this one 100. No, 56 out of 100 again.
It's a mystery where size does matter. Look for ScoobyDoo Legend of the Phantasaur on DVD.
ScoobyDoo Legend of the Phantasaur is special for the most random of reasons. It created a meme in, so basically, at the beginning of the film, they're like solving a mystery and Shaggy gets scared by this ghost or whatever before they bust him and can't stop screaming. It's just sitting there screaming for hours. So they get this guy to hypnotize him into like being like super cool and not getting scared by anything when he says like a magic word, which I think is like no or something, you know, it's something really simple and basic that they accidentally say all the time in front of him, switching him back and forth. So it's that kind of thing, but basically it created this Ultra Instinct, you know, Shaggy meme, which is so funny because he literally does just, he goes like super cyan mode, you know, Shaggy, like super cool, and has this like race with this gangster on top of like Death Mountain while being chased by a ghost dinosaur, a Phantasaur. The Phantasaur is very irrelevant to why everyone loves this film, though. It's fine, though, and I'll give it 57 out of 100.
It's appetizing.
Delicious. I kind of wish I'd gone easy on the goat's head and ketchup.
ScoobyDoo Franken-Creepy.
ScoobyDoo Franken-Creepy is both absolute garbage and absolutely hilarious. So, Velma, her uncle dies, I think. Uncle? Like, yeah. And, They own a castle in Transylvania and give it to her. And then she goes there, but she's scared of the curse, of how everyone goes crazy. And then she continues her uncle's work, trying to reanimate life and creates a thing called Franken Creepy. And yeah, and it's not real. It's not real. It's not a real monster. They just make her think it is, and they've like hypnotized her into being crazy. And the villain, again. But the hilarious thing about this one is that Fred the whole time, the Mystery Machine gets destroyed at the start of this film, and he's just like, oh god, and like thinking back to it every time like anyone mentions it, and he just goes, the Mystery Machine, like imagines it exploding, and he's so depressed. I'll give this one 57 out of 100. It's garbage, but I love it.
I don't want to be a werewolf!
And I'm already a dog.
Fire!
The all-new feature-length movie, Big Top Scooby-Doo.
Big Top Scooby-Doo is similarly insane. It feels in this one like they had like a random wheel of monsters and a random wheel of like location styles, and they just kind of span them both, because I can't imagine any other reason why they would have had a werewolf at a circus, but that's what they did. So the gang actually like is, you know, properly mysterying, because they go undercover as circus performers in this one, and only the like head of the circus knows who they actually are. And then they, you know, they have a whole thing. They do a whole thing as circus performers and trying to search for the mystery truth. And it's quite good. It's quite good. It's a lot of fun, this one. And it is properly like, there's like a big proper ending, and then it's a psych-out ending, and there's another person involved, and then they have to like chase a train to like stop him from stealing all the money off the circus. It's a whole thing. I enjoyed this one. It's pretty good. I'll give it 58 out of 100.
Did you hear something?
That's just Scooby's stomach. He hasn't eaten anything in over 7 minutes.
You've got to be kidding me.
ScoobyDoo and the Curse of the 13th Ghost.
Remember the old TV show, The 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, where Scooby, Shaggy, Daphne were with this guy called Vincent Van Gogh hunting for these 13 ghosts let out of Pandora's box? Yeah, it was a thing, okay? And it was an awesome TV show. I really loved it. So they basically have done a kind of sequel to that, where they kind of, you know, have to explain that Fred and Velma, they were off like camp or something, so they don't believe in real ghosts for a lot of this, and they have to go back because they found the final 13th ghost, the leader of all the ghosts, and it's a whole thing. They have Vincent back in it, and they have Flim Flam was his name, right, the kid who was with them in it, but he's like grown up now, even though they are still all teenagers, the gang, so you wonder how that works. That's pretty confusing. Also, Fred is like literally reduced to a cheerleader because Daphne is like the full-on leader, like she was in the show, and she is like super hot. So I'll give this one 58 out of 100 as well. It's a lot of fun.
Like they're gaining on us!
Scooby-Doo Return to Zombie Island. If Curse of the 13th Ghost was a slap of nostalgia right to your face, then this was a kick of nostalgia right to your badonkadunks. I love that word because it could mean boobs or balls. Anyway, so they return to the island where their Zombie Island adventure took place, thinking it's a tropical island holiday that Shaggy won on some horror movies channel giveaway thing. It turns out they were being manipulated into coming there so that a film crew could film them trying to recreate their zombie adventure by, you know, putting in like zombies and like people that look like the people they met on the island and all that kind of stuff. So then they actually help these guys properly finish the film after they discover what's going on, but there's still weird evil cat people about, and you're like, what's going on here? As we kind of, whoa, things are happening again, stuff like that, you know, good times. It's one of the best like ones they've done recently. A lot of true comedy in it. I'll give this one, once again, 58 out of 100.
Now who's the damsel in distress? Straight up.
But only one stands on all fours.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you.
ScoobyDoo.
The first attempt at a live-action Scooby-Doo film that featured the cast of Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., Matthew Lillard, and Linda Cardellini was the last time we saw Scrappy-Doo in a film. Yeah, unfortunately he was the villain, and had Rowan Atkinson as a robot, Isla Fisher as a terrifying monster / one-time girlfriend for Shaggy, and a lot of really, really stupid shit, but it was a lot of fun, wasn't it? It was a lot of fun. It's not the best one ever, but I think it's made it in my top 10 here for sure, and it's a good time, you know. Daphne, you know, Sarah Michelle Gellar brings something of like Buffy to Daphne, and there's the bit where Scooby dresses his grandma on the plane and then goes mental, and Fred's all like, Scooby! it's stupid. But I do enjoy this one. I still enjoy this one, unironically, quite a lot. I'll give it 59 out of 100. That's generous.
Maybe it's real.
So come along with Scooby and all the gang in their most frightening mystery ever. ScoobyDoo on Zombie Island.
And now, I finally made it. I know this is going to be a crazy length video. I've been recording for 40 minutes. But there's nothing I can do about that. I'm sorry, okay? Now, we're into the top 5. The original ScoobyDoo on Zombie Island was an absolute classic. It had everything you want, including actual monsters. Supposedly, you know, the return to Zombie Island thing makes you question if that was all real or not. But it, you know, it's a surprising number when I actually sit down and think about it, of my favourite Scooby-Doo films have some sort of real threat, you know. But there's cat people, which are the actual, you know, they're the actual villains, and that's pretty much everybody they meet in the island. It's one of the few times they just kind of go, fuck it, everybody you meet's evil. In Scooby-Doo, they don't normally do that. And then the zombies turn out to be good guys. It's a mess, but you have to love it because it is genius. I'll also give this 59 out of 100. But it's above the live-action one.
Are they real? What does the government know? Will Scooby-Doo and Shaggy finally get enough to eat? Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders.
4th is Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders. Oh yes, it's another classic. They're much like Legend of the Phantasaur. It's set in New Mexico. It's a desert thing. A UFO makes the Mystery Machine crash, so they're stuck in this small town for a few days. They investigate these aliens that are appearing, and they end up appearing, you know, because they're these people that wanted to scare everyone off from the town so that they could dig out the gold from under the town. Fairly simple and formulaic by now. Try to scare people off so that they can get rich. It's that kind of thing. It's that idea. But then it turns out at the end that Crystal, who's super hot, and her dog Amber, and these, you know, obviously Scooby and Shaggy fall for them, they're real aliens. And that was a thing. That was weird. That scarred me for life. Partly because I wanted them to properly get together with Scooby and Shaggy. Oops. But, you know, it was fine. And it was, you know, it's a great one. This is a great one. This is a great bit of classic Scooby-Dooing. So I'll give it 60 out of 100.
A dark tale, a fearless phantom.
We're coming into
And the spotlight couldn't be more spooky.
I don't know what that was. I'm running away from it.
Scooby-Doo, stage fright.
Of all of the films that have basically not, you know, that I didn't first see when I was a child, of all the ones that I only watched for the first time recently, Scooby-Doo Stage Fright is undoubtedly the winner for me. It sounds ludicrous. Daphne and Fred are finalists in a big singing competition. After all, they are known for being a musical duo. And they go to Chicago. Take that off your travel bucket list, I suppose. The finals of this competition are obviously taking place in an opera house, and there's a phantom there! A phantom of the opera! What? They're so much fun, and a lot of it comes from the fact that Daphne and Fred actually get together in this one. You know, they're actually doing like a oh, will they, won't they thing, and then they do at the end, and that doesn't carry on to later films, you know. But it was fun to have that actually happen once, you know, and it was a big romantic musical ending. It was fun, okay? I really enjoyed this one, and there was like proper car chase scenes and stuff like that. They went hard in this one. They did a lot of cool stuff. So I'll give it 61 out of 100 next.
It's the all-new, fully animated movie, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost.
Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Second place for that, please. The gang go to New England town Oak Haven after being invited by horror writer Ben Ravencroft. This has also got Tim Curry in it, like Goblin King, right? Fun. Classic. Anyway, they explore his family history as the ghost of his ancestor, a witch, terrorizes the town due to them turning her life and death into a tourist attraction, essentially. It's just classic, this one, okay? This was one of my favorites as a kid because it's got everything you want, you know? They're just wandering about, they're getting chased by this monster. It's a real monster in the end, and it's a whole thing, okay? I can't put my finger exactly on what makes this one so great, you know? Story, plot, subplots are all really great. The fucking hex girls are in it, baby! Ooh, I'm gonna put a spell on you. You gotta do what I want you to. They're so hot. They're so hot. It is a great movie. It's really fun. Still very enjoyable to watch. I'll give this 62 out of 100. But, I'm sorry. Even the hex girls, okay, can't make which is ghost number 1 above Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase.
Cyberspace, the final frontier.
Cyberspace? No, yikes.
Who would be brave enough to go there and come back?
Your friends have been transported into cyberspace.
The chase is on with Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase.
You want to talk about the films like Curse of the 13th Ghost and Return to Zombie Island, which give you nostalgia for the previous films? This managed to give you nostalgia for the whole original show, which was so cool. Even like when I was a kid at the time, this made me feel so nostalgic for all the oldest Scooby-Doos that I'd ever seen. You want to talk about real ghosts? This was the perfect blend because it had the cyber demon who was like this real thing, very tangible because they were stuck in the game, and they had to unmask someone at the end who'd let him loose. It was so good, okay? It was so good. I love Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. It's the epitome, you know, we had a bunch of these old ones taped on like VHSs, and that was always the one I wanted to like own properly and stuff, you know, on an actual copy. Oh, so good. It was the epitome of those classic Scooby-Doo movies to me, and it still is the epitome of all Scooby-Doo movies to me. So, I'll give it 64 out of 100. But that leaves us with one question, folks. After reviewing 42 films, where is Scoob going to place? Is it going to really max out this list? Push it into new stratospheres? Be the best Scooby-Doo movie ever? I don't know, but you'll have to wait and see for tomorrow, because I am fucking done, okay? If you like this video, then please just share it everywhere you can, okay? Let the world know that I've gone through this hardship watching all these Scooby-Doo movies, and that there is really a puppet Scooby-Doo movie. They did that, yeah, that was a thing. We should shame Warner Brothers for that. Please subscribe, bye!